Hello guys, welcome to episode 2 of The Art of Winning, a Terran Guide to Cheese. You're watching part 1 right now, which is going to be focusing on a TvZ build. It's a really aggressive build. It is off of 3 CCs actually, but it's super dangerous and definitely game ending. And not only that, but another thing that I like about it is that it holds off any Zerg all-in that they can do off of a 15 hatch. So I think it's a really powerful and strong build to know. And I've just got a message. Yeah, it's just a really strong, good build. And I have this week's guide. I'm doing it a little different. I'm doing one video per matchup because they're going to be a teeny bit longer, and I'm also going to have multiple replays going over different things you may face and how to deal with them. But like I said, this video is gonna focus on TvZ, and this is gonna be the first game. Let me make sure I switch the overlay. There we go. Okay. So, first thing to point out with this is a very freestyle kind of build. Maybe not freestyle, that's the wrong word. You can open however you want. There's just some key things to remember about this, and you can transition into this build and do this type of attack off of any opening you want, whether it's just a normal 1-Rax expand, whether it's a Reaper expand, whether it's CC first. As long as you know the steps and you know the things that you have to get, you can do it any way you want. I generally prefer to do it with the Reaper because that's just my style, but I've done it tons of games off of a CC first, and I've done it games off of like proxy 8-Rax Reaper, like 888. I've done it with every build. You just gotta remember the things. Something a little funny, this game I accidentally loaded all my SCVs into my command center, and then I do it again, but that's just to be funny because I think I was streaming this game. So, this game is going to be more of like, I'm going to start off with just showing you what a general game looks like doing this build. And then I'm going to get into the, I'll have up on the overlay the key timings you have to remember. And then I'm going to show you 2 other games playing against 2 different styles of play and how it works out against them. But this game is just sort of your normal, you know, the Zerg went hatch first, then they got a pool in their gas. I went for a Reaper expand. Everything super normal this game. Gonna alt-tab for a second, make sure this mic is still recording well. I have my good mic now, so I don't have to use my webcam one like I did last week. Okay, so, and I guess I'll just talk about it a little bit. So, the basis of this build is you're gonna do a giant attack around 10 minutes. And the attack is going to consist of Hellions, Marauders, and Banshees. And it's going to be super, super strong, super hardcore attack. You're even going to end up pulling a bunch of SCVs with it. But it's still off of 3cc, so in a way it's still a really economic build, and it defends really well against all-ins. But you're going to see. So, gain the starport up, gain the reactored Hellions going. Really, whatever your preference is for going 3cc, however you want to do it, you can do it. So the barracks is going to make a tech lab for the starport, and then it's going to make a tech lab for itself. You're going to make a Viking, and then you're going to make Banshees out of your starport. Out of your factory, you're going to be making Hellions. Out of your barracks, you're going to be making Marauders. I make 1 Marine in this game because he has an Overlord here scouting it, and I don't want him to see that I'm making Marauders. And you're going to have another barracks, which you put somewhere where it won't be scouted, and that's also going to make a tech lab as soon as it's done, and going to make a lot of Marauders. Your Hellions, you're going to leave in your base for a really long time. And the reason you don't need to scout with these Hellions for a third is because if Zerg is all-in you, the unit composition that you're making is going to hold it off easy peasy no matter what. So you don't even need to scout, you don't even need to check, and you leave all these Hellions back basically to deny scouting and to deny a run by, because you're not walling off really early with eBays, and you're not walling off with a command center or a bunch of depots, because you need to be keeping production up of everything. But when I have 8 of them, and when my wall's almost complete, and when I've already denied the scouting, that's when I'm going to push out with these. Something to remember, this isn't like your typical Hellion harass in TvZ. You under no circumstance want to sack all these Hellions. If you sack all these Hellions and you lose them, your attack is worthless. Something you have to remember is this is a timing attack. So the more units you have when you hit the strength of your timing, the better. If you trade poorly or even evenly, it still cuts into your timing really hard. So you only want to kill units you can guaranteed kill and still get away safe without losing your Hellions. So I'm going to push very not aggressively, very just poking a little bit to make sure he's at least made a few lings and some queens. See, as soon as I see the lings, running away. Not even going to running away. And we get a little bit of information with this. It's a little bit important to note if they make roaches or not. And again, back at home, you don't take any other gases. It's just your 1/1/1 with 1 extra barracks and your 3rd CC, making Hellions, Banshees, Marauders. You don't get your cloak until after your 2nd Banshee is started. And the reason being is, if you get your cloak immediately, it delays this barracks and it causes gaps in production. And rushing the cloak isn't important at all because you don't attack with your first Banshee. You don't send a Banshee here and try to get kills. You don't do anything like that. You're just building up a bunch of units here so that you're going to have a really, really strong attack right here. Okay. And the attack timing is around, it's around 10 minutes and 30 seconds roughly. That, of course, depends how you opened up, but off of a Reaper opening like this, it generally also happens when your 2 Banshees are out. Okay, so, you see, we made a bunch of Marauders, we made a bunch of Hellions, we got the Banshees, we got Cloak on the way, it'll finish by the time we get to his base. You're also going to pull 8 to 16 SCVs. Now, how you determine how many SCVs you should pull is based on your scouting when you poke out with your Hellions at first. If you see roaches, or a lot of roaches for that matter, you're going to pull around 16 SCVs. You're going to pull a lot more SCVs. But if you only see a few roaches or no roaches at all, you don't need to pull as many SCVs because they don't need to tank as much. And aside from that, see 1030? Okay, we clear the watchtowers first with our Hellions. Let me rewind that just a little bit. So before the push moves out, he has no idea about it. Fast forward back to there. Checking both the towers. I'm going to go back and forth to the towers. Have this tower cleared. Have all the overlords cleared from our Viking, which has 4 overlord kills. And then we're going to move everything to here. And you're going to rally everything. You're going to keep making Marauders. You're going to keep making Hellions. And you're going to keep making Banshees. This is the attack. Obviously, I need to wait a second for my Marauders to get here because he does. Look how many roaches he has. He has 12 roaches. So we're just going to attack on in here. Just some basic micro things. All these SCVs are on auto repair. I got some over here repairing themselves. Everything's on auto repair. You're going to lead with your Hellions because Hellions are going to take a bunch of damage while also doing splash damage to everything. Marauders are going to sit in the back adding a bunch of armored damage to the queens, roaches, and the hatchery. And the Banshees are going to kind of sit behind everything and just pick off whatever they can. You want to try your best not to lose the Banshees. Everything else you just want to trade with. You want to trade really, really well. You want to kill drones. You want to kill whatever is available. See, he backs away, so we attack the hatchery. He wants to fight. That's fine. We can fight this all day. We have a bunch of Marauders. We have a bunch of Hellions. We have more rallying in. And you'll see, even with all the roaches and lings and queens and static defense he has, he's going to lose everything. And we're going to kill the hatchery. And not only that, but we're on 3 bases. Okay, now. And here's why the 3 CCs is important. If we were only on 2 CCs right now, and we had production up, we'd still be in an okay spot. You know, we'd be able to keep attacking. We killed the 3rd. He has bad mining. He'd be on even economy with us. But instead, we're on a 3rd base, cranking out SCVs from 3 bases. we're up to all our production, we have upgrades up, and he doesn't have a third base. So we're effectively 3 base versus 2 base, and in, you know, 1 minute when everything's all the way saturated and mules are dropped and all the reactors are kicked in on here, we're going to basically be in an unlosable position where even if he cleans this up, he's going to be in a terrible spot, and we're basically just going to have to rally Marines to his base and kill him. And you'll see, as long as you can, keep trading. If you kill the third base off, it's okay to go home. If he has too much stuff, it's okay to go home. But if you can keep trading, that's fine. Because it's also going to buy time for you to get all your production up. And he does, in a minute, end up being able to clean this up. But because of the position we've put him in relative to the position we're in, we've effectively won the game with this timing. And I'll go back a little bit to just show some things about when you move out, and talk a little bit about the transition as you move out. Oops, maybe that's a little bit too far. We'll go to 9 minutes. Okay, so talking about the order of operations back in your base after your attack is pushed out. So still in another few seconds. Okay. You stay on the 2 gases for a really long time. You're going to end up putting 2 E-bays down, and you're going to end up adding 4 barracks, so going up to 5 racks. So you're going to be on 5 racks, 2 E-bays, and then after all that, that's when you take more gases. And while the push is going on, you have 2 tech labs. So you're going to get stim on 1 tech lab, and you're going to get combat shields on the other. So that while your attack is going on, and even though you're rallying Marauders, and you're rallying Hellions, and you're rallying Banshees, back at home, you're getting 1-1 upgrades. You're getting all your barracks up, which you're then going to add reactors on all of them, and taking your other gases. And then, so when your attack is over, and when your push is done, you're able to, you know, be close to stim finishing, be really close to your upgrades finishing, and you just switch the factory in the starport so you can make double medevacs, and so you can make takes, because oftentimes they have roaches, or they'll try a roach baneling type all in to try to end you, but it doesn't work out as long as you've been cranking out units and as long as you start building some siege tanks. So that's the transition back home, and that goes on as your attack is happening. About when your attack pushes out, you'll see. So here, the double E-base first. Attack is pushing out. Add a bunch of barracks. When you have the money for it, you'll see I have a lot of money. So I put a bunch of barracks down, all of those. And then third CC goes to land. And then we attack. So everything is going to be happening really close to a normal macro game from your side. It's just with this huge pressure that forces the Zerg to react to it. And here, I'll get a little right up on screen, just so everything is really clear. This is the next one, and this is versus Destiny. Okay, but before we start that, I'm gonna just pop up. Okay, tech sub, and there we have it. Okay, so key things. You go 1-1-1. Okay. So you're going to have 1-1-1, Reactor Hellions, Banshee, Viking first, Viking, then Banshees. You take your second gas. After your third CC and your 1-1-1 is up. That's when you take your third gas. So your third CC is building. You have your first 2 Hellions making, and you have your starport building. That's when you take your second gas. What else is important? Okay, after your starport is done, that's when you're gonna start your another barracks, when you have money for it. So Sorry, this is a little scattered. I should have planned this a little better beforehand. 111. Second gas. Okay, non-stop reactor Hellions. Viking, then Banshees. Then second Rax. Non-stop Banshee, Hellion, Marauder. Attack with second Banshee. And you get Cloak. I can't spell. After second Banshee is started. Okay, so 111 and 3cc, second gas, non-stop Hellions, Viking, non-stop Banshees. After your second Banshee is started, you get Cloak. After your second Banshee is out, that's when you pull your SCVs and you go for the attack. Okay. Then back at home. Double eBay. 4 more racks. Then your third and fourth gases after all your racks and your eBays are down. And then you just get all the upgrades you need and you take your third, also while doing the attack. And you can start all those upgrades and things right before you do the attack if you have problems with microing and macroing back at home at the same time. You can start everything while all your stuff is outside of his base, and then when you have everything started up, you go in for the attack. Okay. So this is another game, and we're going to be playing against a slightly different style, and it's going to be slightly different, but it's showing you that as long as you have all the key things that you remember, in what order you get things, you can do almost anything you want, and the build still plays out the same. So a difference you'll notice right away is because Destiny always likes to go for early gas pool speedling. The CC is going to be on the high ground. He's going to have speedlings, so I'm going to end up having to make 2 Marines first out of this barracks and not be able to make my Hellions right away. But then as soon as I take care of the things that need to get taken care of, it's going to be 3 CCs, Reactored Hellions, Cloak Banshee, double Raxes making Marauders. You'll see CC's on the high ground, and I scout and confirm, yeah, it's Destiny. He's doing a standard little Destiny thing that he always does, which is really super gimmicky. So you'll see I can't lift this, so it's okay. Just make Marines. I know the order of things I need to do, and as soon as I can get back on track, I'll get back on track. Okay, so I get the Marines out, and the Lings haven't run up, so now I can switch back. And let me rewind just a few seconds so you can see the second gas timing actually in action. Okay, so Starport's done, or Starport is started. Hellions are making. Third CC is making. That's when it's time to take that gas. Okay, and then I'll end up swapping, and we'll make the tech lab for the starport with the barracks, and then we'll make a tech lab for the barracks. Pop out a Viking first. Staying back, staying home with the Hellions, because you don't need to push out with the Hellions until you have enough of them. As soon as the Viking's done, the Banshees. Not Cloak yet, not getting Cloak yet, just the Banshee. And then we add another barracks, just when you have money for it, after your Banshees are started. And then when we have enough Hellions, which is usually 6 to 8, that's when you're going to push out and scout. And I push out and I see a lot of Queens. I don't actually check to see if a third is here. What I'm facing against this game is actually really fast Mutalisk off 2 bases. And that seems like a really strong counter to it, and in a way it is a counter, sort of, but you just have so much stuff that the Zerg has to stay back so long to deal with it, that by his mutas pop out, they have to deal with all this stuff killing his base, and by that time, all the rest of your barracks are up and you're making mass Marines. And your upgrades are started and you can make turrets and everything you need. So here's the attack. Pulled a bunch of SCVs, 16 SCVs. Comes up. We're against Baneling, so gotta split a little bit. Just micro the best you can. My micro could have been much better, but even with my micro could have been much better, I still trade really, really well. I'm still way ahead in supply, and I'm still able to get a bunch of damage in. And at this point, when I see all the hive stuff, I realize, hey, it's probably really fast mutas. So I'm going to end up targeting down the hatchery. See mutas pop out. So now you're thinking, oh shoot, mutas popped out, but look how much stuff you still have. And still more stuff on the way. And your banshees can cloak, and at this point I'm just going to click on the hatchery. Because even if I don't trade for the hatchery, you got to look at the positions we're in. I have more income than him. I have more harvesters than him. I have my stuff getting up back at home. I have the eBays and everything that I need so I can build turrets. So all I need to do is stall just a little while for these mutas, and then I'm going to enter the game in a huge advantage, just like we did last game. Last game when he went roaches, you're able to kill a lot. He's not able to make drones. You kill the third. So you're in a huge advantage to where you would be in a normal game. And same thing here. We're way ahead in supply, ahead in everything, basically. It was just sort of bonus that the hatchery went down also. Because really it's not a big deal that this hatchery went down because he has a third base he can transfer the drones to. The main thing was just keeping him back. And so now he comes over to try to kill some stuff with his mutas, but by that time we already have turrets up and we already have a bunch of marines out. It's just a matter of holding off these mutas without taking too much damage, and then we're in a really good spot for the game. See, take the gases then when I have all the production I need up. Then I'll take my third at some point. Fast forwards this a little, because it's mostly just macroing. And from this point, it's sort of just like a normal TvZ. You push out when you have your medevacs and stim and everything ready. Sure, he's base trading and doing a little bit of damage, but we're going to keep trading, keeping his drone count down, and having a lot of our own production and units making. Taking the third. Effectively at this point, it's like a normal TvZ where I just have a lead in it. And even here, I don't make the best, most cost-effective trade, but I'm trading at 50 harvesters versus 50 harvesters with way more income because I have mules. So you can make trades like this and you can just keep pushing, and eventually the Zerg player is going to die. And this is really fast muta is one of the only builds that you'll face where you don't just kill the Zerg player. This is one where you sort of have to play it out, but you're in a really great position, so it doesn't really matter. Most other things that they try, or if they try a normal third, most of the time you'll just completely kill them and you won't even need to transition. You're doing the transition basically just in case. There's nothing too interesting through all of this. This is just, I'm just showing you the rest of the game. He harasses a lot, which is kind of annoying, but Marines are good. Making Thors, Hellbats, Marines, Marauders, just normal TvZ at this point. And then we're gonna push out and kill him. He's on 2-2, we're on 2-2. I just have a much better army though, better micro, good everything. Like a really cost-effective trade, because that was, even though we're really close in supply, he traded basically a lot of banelings for not a lot of gas units. And at this point he just dies and loses. And we get a little bit of rage out of him, because I call a few mules down, because Destiny is very BM. All the time. Yeah, I say good luck, have fun to him almost every single game, and he always just says something stupid at the end, so now I'm a little BM to him. Gonna have that macro. So he wasn't even on 4 bases because we killed that right away. And then you get the Destiny Rage, which is always a good sign. That lets you know that the build has been a success. Then he says something stupid before leaving with no GG. Okay, so that was another game. That's generally the 2 types of builds you play against is players who try to hold it off with Roach, or players who go really, really fast betas. So there you got to see one of each. And then this last game is a bit of a bonus. This is me versus Sexory. And Sexory is a Korean top 16 Grandmaster player. He was on the Korean team SKT, I believe. Right now he's not. He's looking for a new team right now. But he is top 16 on KR ladder. And he was playing on North America the other day because for certain WCS things you need to have a certain amount of games played on the region you want to compete in. So he was playing games on NA and he was streaming him. And I was lucky to get him a few games, and I played him just prior, and I played standard, and I ended up losing at around 14-15 minutes. So this game I thought, you know what? I'm going to try out my build. I'm going to see how it goes. And it just so happens that he was doing a Roach Baneling bust. So this is going to show the power of this build against defending all-ins and then countering. So still same thing. Normal Reaper expand, 2 Reapers, factory, starport, 3 CCs, second gas. That was kind of cute. He tried to catch the Reaper. That was bad mannered. I think I end up getting a drone kill. Yep, I do end up killing a drone, which is pretty nice. You're not usually supposed to get a drone kill. 3rd CC goes down. You'll see I put this purposely here in front of his Overlord because what you show your opponent and what you don't show your opponent plays quite a big deal in StarCraft. So by showing him this 3rd CC at a regular, completely standard timing, it's hopefully going to have him feeling very comfortable that this is just another 3cc macro build. But instead, you see we have the starport hidden a little bit, we have the tech lab going down, and we have the second gas. All, of course, hidden away from his Overlord because we don't want him to see that. But to him, this looks like as standard as can be, completely normal build. And so what he does is puts down a Roach Warren and a Baneling Nest to do a Roach Baneling bust to try to punish my 3rd CC. But what he doesn't know is that we have the Banshees, not cloaked yet, Banshees, Marauders, and second Barracks going down at home. And you'll see, I hold this off without even scouting it. When I have enough Hellions right here, this is when I push out with them, which is very, very late. It's around 8 minutes. And you'll see they walk halfway across the map, and they see some roaches. So at this point, I'm really, really happy because holding roaches off is really, really easy because you have Marauders, Banshees, and Hellions, which you can't counter Roach Baneling much harder than that. And at this point, you know, from seeing all this stuff, I'm really sure that that's what it is. So I'm just gonna pull my stuff back a bit. It almost doesn't even require almost any micro, like just a little bit of stutter step. And this is like, this isn't like a light all in, this is like a really strong, if you go 3cc, this is really, really difficult to hold. You always take damage from it. But you'll see with this, we just lose a few depots. And so we've been over 2,000 minerals, more cost effective than him. And from this point, you know, everything goes on just like normal. Gonna pull a bunch of SCVs, gonna rally the attack. I think I pull SCVs. Maybe I don't even pull SCVs this game. I think I didn't pull SCVs just because they were all hurt, but that's okay. It's still the same thing. Get your attack in while transitioning up at home. Bunch of barracks going down, the eBay's going down, the second gas is going down. and just killing as much as we can with this pressure. So you'll see we're basically even in the drone count. You know, he can't really do anything counter back. If you're even with a Zerg like this, you're actually way super far ahead. So, and then again, he didn't die right away to the pressure, but at this point, any amount of units that I make and then attack him with is just gonna kill him. Harassing with the Banshees. Taking the third. Fast forward it because it's sort of just some boring stuff. Banshees kill off whatever they can. Sorry if this feels rushed a little bit, I just don't want to hang on one thing for too long, but look at this. Our supply, we're 40 supply ahead of him. We have a huge army, we have an army that counters what he has. He's making banelings, his upgrades are bad, not even on 1-1 yet. So we're just going to easily kill him. And at this point, you know, top 16k RGM, easy peasy. Gonna call the mule down. You should always call the mule down. It's one of the most important aspects of playing Terran. And there's no way he can come back from this. So, lots of easy wins, all thanks to this build. This build I came up with, I don't know, I started doing it maybe around 2 months ago, and it ended up just working really well. I just tried it on ladder one day, just randomly tried it, and it ended up working out really well, so I kept doing it and refined it a little bit. If you struggle in TvZ with holding off all-in plays, or just with not knowing how to punish greedy Zergs, I really recommend using it because it's really strong. And I'll see you guys in part 2. Thanks.